There's this idea that inflammation is the enemy and that inflammation is bad, but this isn't always true, and this misunderstanding leads to some issue mismanagement. Now, what is inflammation? Well, it is used synonymously with swelling, and that isn't quite true. Swelling can be from multiple things, not necessarily inflammation. Swelling in the ankle, for example, can happen with a knee injury, and that's the swelling in the ankle isn't from inflammation. It's because the lymphatic system is overloaded and fluid is collecting in the ankle and the foot. For example, some increases in bursal fluid is not inflammatory. Most chronic tendon issues are not inflammatory. Sadly, even a lot of MDs get this wrong. And honestly, even my own education had this wrong. And I think it's mostly due to these anachronistic terms that are still used for diagnosis and still used in the diagnosis codes. It hasn't kept up with the research. These diagnoses and codes use the term itis. And itis means inflammatory. So most tendinitis is actually tendinosis. It's a degenerative problem. It's not an inflammatory problem. Most bursitis is increased bursal fluid not because of inflammation, but the body is increasing fluid in the bursa to add more cushioning because there's a nearby tissue disorder, for example, tendon tear. Trochanteric bursitis is one of the more common diagnoses I see, and it's most likely gluteus medius tendinopathy and has nothing to do with inflammation in the bursa. And that's just an example. Okay, I'm getting off track. I still haven't answered what is inflammation. I explained what it isn't. What is inflammation? Inflammation is when the immune system is in attack mode, attacking something. Inflammation can be an important part of your body fighting off an infection. Another case, when you're injured, if you don't count, forming the blood clot and stopping bleeding, if you don't count that, then the first step of healing process after that is the inflammatory stage. It is a necessary part of the healing process. Your body uses the immune system to eat up the damaged tissue so it can go in and then rebuild and repair. I've recently hurt my heel pad, and I shouldn't walk on it for, like 6 weeks. But contrary to doctor's orders, I'm still walking for hours every day because my baby daughter, Her Highness, she desires it. So it isn't healing properly. I'm looking for advice or ideas to speed up healing, so I head online only to find things like, the pain is from inflammation, inflammation is the problem, you need to ice it, you need to take anti-inflammatories. And that made me so upset I decided to make this video. When I walk too much, I do feel it throbbing. I'm causing damage and putting myself back into the inflammatory stage of healing. I don't want to stop the inflammation, I want more of it even. There's a treatment called prolotherapy where you get injected with dextrose, which is a sugar, and this causes an inflammatory reaction. You inject it into the area that hasn't been healing properly, and it kickstarts a more vigorous healing response. Now, I don't have dextrose with me right now, but I have a box of acupuncture needles. I'm seriously considering just jabbing my heel with a handful of acupuncture needles to see if it would help. Now, ice. Ice actually fell out of favor in the rehab space for a while because some research results were showing that icing was negatively affecting healing rates. Now, that was temporary. People are icing again, and people still use ice, but it's a different mindset now. You can use icing and elevation to control the amount of swelling, and you can use icing, to control the amount of pain. It is all about symptom control. And you only do enough to control the symptoms. Icing is not curative. It's not healing. In the research that showed reduced healing rates, they were over-icing. How is the body supposed to heal if you keep an injury iced all the time? It limits blood flow to the region, so nutrients can't get to the region. The garbage stuff from eating up and cleaning up through inflammation, it can't eat up all that stuff, and it has to get out through the blood. And if you're icing it, you're keeping it cold. There's no flow, so garbage stuff builds up. Nutrients can't get in, and it may even inhibit the release of chemical messengers and It just doesn't help healing. Heck, I would even take a pill if it would double my pain if it actually helped my heel issue heal faster. When is inflammation bad then? Well, that could be inflammation for no reason, where your immune system is at high alert but doing nothing. It's bad if it's continuous for some reason. It's bad in autoimmune conditions where the immune system is fighting your body and eating your body, eating the joints like in rheumatoid or psoriatic arthritis, or attacking the intestinal lining as in ulcerative colitis or Crohn's. In those cases, it's bad. And I'm going to add something. I was attending a lecture by a researcher, and this researcher was employed by a supplement company, and they were finding in their research and their studies that a lot of the plant-based pills that are considered anti-inflammatory would actually ramp up inflammation in these chronic pain patients. And that was just temporarily. So it would ramp it up, and then ultimately it would end up reducing inflammation. And the plants seemed to be immunomodulatory rather than anti-inflammatory, helping ramp up inflammation to help repair issues, and then helping to ramp down inflammation when there's nothing going on. This isn't strange when you consider humans evolved with a soup of plant chemicals in their blood, from their diet. It is reasonable that optimum functioning may require consuming plant products regularly. Plant-predominant diets reduce the incidence of pretty much every disease. As another note, probably my final note here, if I had some sort of chronic inflammatory condition, I would start looking at diet, and I would potentially start testing for rare diseases or rare infections to try to get to the bottom of why I seem to have this chronic inflammation.